So I'm Kratika Kulwani. I manage the brand and marketing for PadCare. PadCare is the world's first innovator of sanitary napkin recycling and processing technology. And I'm really thrilled to join here today and to talk about sustainability and sustainable lifestyle. In a world where we have the chance to save our planet, it's time to give our lifestyle an eco-friendly update. And over the next hour, we will be talking extensively about the practical approaches of how we can switch our lifestyle to be more green. And it is going to be interesting. So let's get started.
Sure.
Um,
While we are here, do you also want to give a brief background of what is PadCare and how you're here today, and a little bit more about PadCare? We would love to know, of course, during the webinar as well. But let's start with what's PadCare and what amazing work you
sure.
guys are doing. Yeah.
Sure. So over the next few hour, we will be talking about disposal. We will be talking about recycling and what are the changes we should be doing on our daily lifestyle. One of the topics that I'm going to cover is waste segregation, and we typically work in a sector to create an environment and ecosystem of menstrual hygiene management. So we provide menstrual hygiene management as a service to corporate, to communities and societies, where they can manage their menstrual, and they can dispose it properly. So talking about the problem of the sanitary waste disposal, India alone disposes 12 billion pads a year, and 90% of these pads go in landfills, or it gets incinerated. So you can imagine the amount of greenhouse gas, like the carbon dioxide, which is emitted through this process, and it is a huge health hazard to our environment. So we wanted to, work on this cause, and that's why we are here to provide this ecosystem to everyone in the society, so that menstruator can dispose their waste with the privacy and in hygienic way. Then it is a system for our waste pickers to dignify their process, so that they don't have to segregate the waste through bare hands. So yeah, this is in brief about pad care, and in coming slides I would be talking more about it.
Thank you so much, Kratika. Yeah. I think we're at 4-3 and very good to go and super excited. We have one person who's raised their hand. If you would like to put your thoughts on the chat, please do, and then let's begin.
Sure. Let me just share my screen.
Yes. I can see you.
Can everyone see my screen properly?
Yes, Kritika.
Okay, great. Let's get started. So, before starting it out, I would, a huge round of applause for everyone who has joined here, because this is the first step of, changing your lifestyle, is to being aware of, being interested in it first. And everyone who are here today has already taken that first step. So, cheers for that. Now, before moving towards, the sustainable lifestyle and what is in, let me, put up a quick question to everyone. We have recently gone through our summer season. We are, transitioning to the next weather, which is rainy season. And how many of you have already, talked about कि इस बार गर्मी बहुत ज्यादा थी, and how many of you have conversed it with your colleagues, your friends, your families about how the weather is being intensified and you cannot control it and you cannot bear it? I was one of them. I was really astonished by the heat waves and by the intensity of heat this year. So these are some of the, headlines I have collected here so that we can talk about it. Like in Delhi, the heat wave wasn't, and the temperature crossed 50 degrees Celsius, and then the breaking heat wave was there through because of climate change. Then we read news about deaths and heat strokes, heat waves around India. So, like, what is it? What is the reason behind it? Yeah, so someone has shared that this has been the most brutal summers, we have experienced in our life. So, one reason we all experience this firsthand is because of climate change. And what is climate change? Climate change is basically, we are continuously using the natural resources, non-renewable resources. We are using it in that frequency, and then the amount of waste that we are generating, it has rapidly increased throughout the years. So it on in 90s it was a certain percentage which has increased by 11 fold. So now it is up to a point that we need to control it. We need to control our usage of the energies, and we need to be mindful about our consumption, because now it is not a topic, just a topic to talk about. Now it is something that we are already experiencing. We are already experienced the worsen condition of climate change, the effects of it, like intensifying weather, the extreme weather conditions, extreme rainfalls to extreme drought somewhere in different regions. So every region on this earth is experiencing climate change right now at this point of time, and we are experiencing it on first hand. So this is something that we should be taking care of, because now is the time, and we have already lost a lot of time taking care of it. So, like now we have talked about climate change, but now because we have gathered here to talk about our individual lifestyle, I would also like to, highlight carbon footprint. How many of you know about carbon footprint? Like, what is it?
Guys, we've run a poll. Yeah, would love for you guys to answer it. Let's give it 5 more seconds.
Yeah. Okay, I think we can stop now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, rate your knowledge about daily carbon footprint. And the answers that we got here is 31% of people are not aware of their carbon footprint, and 20% of people are aware. So, even now, even though some people know what carbon footprint is and they know their knowledge on carbon footprint, but still 31% are the people who are not aware of it. Like, what is carbon footprint, and what are they emitting through their daily lives? So, carbon footprint is the amount or the measure of amount that you are generating, the carbon dioxide that you are generating through your daily activities or the economic activities. So, basically, it is the amount of greenhouse gases that you have been emitting, and it also a part of ecological damage that we are doing on a personal level, and it measures that number. Yeah. So we will be talking about our carbon footprint, how to manage it, and how to switch to a sustainable lifestyle. But before going to those slides, I would like to highlight three main categories from where we generate our carbon dioxide and we emit the CO2 gases. First is transportation, second is household, and then food consumption. These are the three main categories which is a part of greenhouse gases. Transportation, as you see, uh, all the varieties of transportation is responsible for the greenhouse gases, which is approximately 24% of the world's greenhouse gases that has been emitted. And through public transport, through walking or through biking, we can control it. But as of now, the percentage of greenhouse gases which is emitted through transportation is huge. It is 24%. Then going to household. So on a daily basis, from when we wake up to when we sleep, we use various of resources by Earth. We use various of resources in the planet which are natural, which cannot be renewed, which are non-biodegradable, and we are a part of a system where it is being promoted of using things which we don't need. So from on an everyday basis, we use these resources. Like we consume food. When I talk about food, there are. It is very interesting to know that food industry is one of the most ecologically polluting industry. And but another interesting thing is it is one of the sector where we can input, like where we can put minimal of efforts, and it is very impactful even with those minimal efforts. So right now 26%, like one quarter of the greenhouse gas has been emitted by exceptionally by food consumption. So we would be talking about how we can alter our diet, our habits to switch to a very sustainable lifestyle. Now, a question to you all. Can you guess which has more carbon footprint? So it's very interesting to know that the right answer is eating a steak dinner, which is 57%, like 57% of people have chosen this. And it's interesting to know that. Yes, exactly. So a steak dinner, having a steak dinner consumes and emits more carbon dioxide than driving 10 miles. So that is the impact of having a dinner which is not very sustainable. Driving 10 miles is approx 4.4 kg of CO2 and eating a steak dinner is approx 6.81 kg of CO2. So these now we have talked about the problem statement, why we think that sustainable lifestyle is important, and why individual climate action is important more than ever. Now talking about what is it, like what is a sustainable lifestyle? It is basically attempting to reduce your resources, the usage of your resources, and reducing the damage as much as possible to the environment. And it is not a it is not very complicated. It is not something that you need to be putting on heroic action for it. We can switch it, we can reduce, like it is a study that an individual person can reduce up to 60% of the greenhouse gases by just changing their habits, their dining habits, their transport habits. So even small habits from each of us can collectively impact the whole of planet. So it is that impactful. but we need to start small for it. So that's why we have gathered here. And the first step to change is to know and to accept the change. So first is to be aware of your own impact. Now we already talked about the carbon footprint, and carbon footprint can be calculated on an individual basis, and then on an city wise basis, country wise basis. You can even calculate your own carbon footprint. So there are many applications available on internet. There are many websites, free websites, which gives you a calculator where you can calculate your own carbon footprint on a daily basis and on an yearly basis. So that is a good start. You have a tangible problem. You know the carbon emission that you have been generating, and the average carbon emission for an individual for an year is approx 2.8 tons. So that is a number, and we are now trying and processing to reduce that number on an individual level. So the first step is to be aware of your own impact, to know what we are consuming, to know the process of disposal, and therefore we will like go on to understand it. But before understanding and before talking about the changes, I would like to ask you all, what challenges have you faced or do you face while trying to live sustainably? Because I understand, even though you have a mindset and you know the urgency of it, you might find it difficult. So, what is the challenge? If you can, type it out on your chat box. Mm. So, we have got some answers to it, which includes, moving to vegetarian diet is not easy for everyone. Then someone has shared, even if I compose, there is garbage lying around on the roads. One of the challenge that someone has shared is convenience is sometimes compromised. Okay. So yeah, there are challenges. If we talk about challenges to, switch to a different lifestyle, we are talking about switching a lifestyle. So yeah, it is difficult at first, but there can be tangible and practical approaches to it. Because it is not necessary that you need to change your whole lifestyle in one day. We can start small. We can understand it first. The first step towards it, as we already talked, is to understand, to be aware of it. So if you think that changing your lifestyle to your diet to be a vegetarian from non-vegetarian, I understand it must be difficult. But what you can do is read about the repercussions of it, read about it for your body and for the environment, for animals. There are a lot of documentaries available on various platform where you can watch those documentaries to understand the repercussions of it, and then ask yourself the question, is it really worth it? And ultimately, having a green vegetarian lifestyle or vegan lifestyle is more beneficial to your body as well as to the planet. But at what cost? You can read about it. So then you will be able to take a mindful and a wise decision. So this could be one of the steps toward changing your diets. Then talking about the convenience. So yeah, first of all, changing habits is difficult. Even small habits are difficult to change, and it takes around 20 to 30 days to change a small habit. But again, reading about it and accepting that even a small change, if I'm doing in my lifestyle, can affect the environment, and being empathetic towards it can be a great trigger. Then you will talk about the impact rather than convenience. So It is not very convenient, agreed, but it can be convenient once you adopt it in your lifestyle and you do it on a daily basis. So all of these things come to a single, um, factor, which is to understand the repercussions of it, understand the importance of it, being empathetic, and then starting small, because you cannot change a lifestyle in one day. You have to start small. You have to switch one thing, one small thing in your lifestyle, and then replicate it to other areas of your life. Then moving on to the next section, how you do it. So now when we were talking about changing your habits, changing your diets, you can start by reading about it, of how there are many websites available where you will get a proper plan to, understand what are the alternatives. So I saw some options on the chat where it was said there are no easily available alternatives to sustainable lifestyle. So, agreed. It is very difficult to find a proper alternatives to the products that you use. But even in those cases, there might be some companies, there might be brands who are creating affordable lifestyle products which are sustainable. And even then, it is not necessary that you need to purchase something very expensive and you need to altogether, switch your and burden yourself for this. You can start small by switching habits in your home first, which doesn't cost, much money. So even that can help you. These are some pointers. Starting from waste-free grocery shopping. We are in an age where where we live independently. We buy our own groceries. We are responsible for it. So we can alter some parts from there. So for example, you can keep a cotton bag for yourself. So instead of when you're purchasing groceries or any item in the market, instead of asking for a plastic bag, you have your own bag with you. A cotton bag, although has a large amount of carbon dioxide generated, but for long term it is very beneficial. So every time you revoke or reduce the usage of plastic bag, you are reusing a cotton bag, which is very good for environment. Then choose bulk option whenever possible. So instead of buying things repeatedly and then packaging more packets, to throw, you can purchase items in bulk when we have the option for it. The third point is use reusable containers. So even then, for example, in your home, you have plastic containers. You can switch those plastic containers to another steel containers or wooden containers when we're cutting or chopping our vegetables. Instead of having a plastic, plate, you can have a steel plate or wooden plate. So these are very small changes which will not require you to alter your, hold together your life, and it is not going to affect you in a large sense, but it is going to affect positively to the environment. So if you think it in a way, these are very doable. And it's up to you. Second is avoiding fast fashion. So we have let me give you a comparison. So producing a pair of jeans generates about 33.4 kilogram of CO2, which is equal to keeping a bulb on for 5.5 months. So imagine the effect of producing a single jeans, and there is a CO2 number valued for each product, each, textile, and a number is associated with it, which is very, very harmful to environment. So the alteration of this could be achieving a lifestyle which is minimal and then focusing on what we need and not what we want. Because right now, many of the times we can get into and caught up into trends. We can caught up into what the influencers are talking about. But reassessing our needs could be very important for our lifestyle. Third is, and it is a very interesting number. While we are, brushing, while we're scrubbing our hands, while we are washing utensils, uh, we have a very, uh, you know, careless habit of keeping the tap on, and it is very silly. Like even talking about it feels silly, but if you talk about the number, If we stop the tap, and if we pause it for 20 seconds, we can save at least 6 gallons per day by turning off the tap. Only that. And 6 gallons is a huge number. So imagine this number is for individual for one time washing, and it will replicate throughout the day. So even by this habit and being mindful about it can help you, not wasting the natural resources which cannot be renewed. Uh, some more tips about a sustainable lifestyle are these. First is always bring a bag or backpack to the shop, as we already discussed. Then packing our food when we are commuting to our workplace in glass containers or aluminum containers. Uh, then getting a reusable water bottle and avoiding getting drinks in plastic bottles. So these are some small changes which are, totally dependent on you. Like you are responsible for it, you are accountable for it, and you have the control to change it. So these are some mindful consumptions and energy saving practices that we can adopt. Yeah. So if you remember earlier, we had a poll about steak dinner. Now it is a comparison of having a non-veg food, a steak dinner, compared to a vegan diet or a vegetarian diet. It is, the comparison and the difference is very huge. One is 36.45 CO2 per kg, and the second is total up to 3.7 kg. So it is like more than 10 folds. Yeah. Now moving to the third section where we all can, contribute, because we are here through different workplaces, and how we can make it more sustainable. These are some pointers. First is buying green products. Buying green. So, for example, like I would like to give an example of um, how what the ecosystem of PadCare is. We recycle sanitary pads. After recycling, we have two outputs from it, which is pulp and plastic. The pulp that we get from recycling sanitary napkins is, we use that for creating stationery items. So it helps companies and corporates, or even on individual level, to adopt a sustainable, product, and to reduce the carbon emission from other products by not using it. So imagine the impact if one workplace could adopt this lifestyle or for their employees. So how much of impact it can be there to planet. Second is educating employees. So all the workplaces, all the decision makers can take this as an initiative to educate their employees on their individual carbon footprint, and being transparent on the company's carbon footprint and how they are trying to reduce it by taking small initiatives. Then switching to LED lightings. Then fourth is going digital. So we do have a lot of technology right now to be to easily adopt a process of going paperless. So this could be one of the options for workplaces. Then encouraging public transit. So companies can encourage their employees to choose carpooling or public transport instead of coming through their personal vehicles, which amounts to a lot of road transport itself has 12% of carbon dioxide generation whole year. So it is a huge number. Even by choosing carpooling or public transport, you are choosing to reduce this number. And then recycling. So workplaces can incorporate very like small initiatives, simple initiatives for their employees, and engage them into an activity where they feel more empathetic and connected toward communities and towards the planet. One of the examples I would like to share is that recently on the Environment Day, we conducted a recycling program for our employees. So we are like 50 to 60 in number, and we are in different locations. But we chose to do this recycling program, even though we knew the number could be, not very huge. But we wanted to launch this initiative to get started. So this is an example where companies could head start to these kinds of donation drives, recycling programs, to give more to the environment. I would request and urge everyone to be more engaging, and if you have any questions, you can type it out in the chat box. Yeah, so this is one of an interesting question to know from you all.
Guys, could you put your answers on the chat? I'm sorry about the poll question.
So we have got a lot of varied answers from, some people are doing work from home, which is the best course of action. But for some people, work from home is not applicable for some industries. So we have public transport, walk, and then metro transport. So it's great to know that by skimming through, I could see there are a lot more of answers, which is associated with public transport. So it is really great to know this. So for all who have answered this question, this is the daily emissions through transportation. By walking, even if it is for 15 to 30 minutes, it's very sustainable, but for not everyone it can be possible. So the other options are public transportation, which is surrounding to 244 grams of carbon dioxide emission for 20 minutes, and for car, even for 10 minutes, it is 560 gram of carbon dioxide. Now, if you multiply it to the number of minutes and hours that you are traveling, you could understand the impact on the environment even on a daily basis. Now, moving to some terminologies. There is a section called circular economy. So earlier the tradition was to take, make, and dispose. That means use, use it, and throw it. Now we have we have moved to a different type or process of ecosystem, or using things, which is reuse, recycle, reduce, reuse, and recycle. So there are typically 6 Rs, while adopting zero waste practices, which can help you to reduce your impact on the environment. The best way to go almost zero waste is through first rethinking what we need and the way we buy. So being mindful, the first step is to being mindful of your consumption, rethink what you need and what you need to buy, then refusing things we don't need. So in a system where capitalistic environment, where things which are very harmful to environment, which uses a lot of fossil fuels, are being encouraged to buy, in an environment we are still purchasing is in our control. So there is a term called de-investment. So just like investing in something, we can de-invest in something by refusing things we don't need, by refusing things that we don't want companies to generate. So we do have a power for it. Then reducing the things we use and focusing on long lasting products. So it also, it means that focusing on things and purchasing things which are sustainable and which have long term usage, which are long lasting. So For example, instead of doing fast fashion, instead of purchasing 50 tops every month, or every 3 months, we can choose to buy one good quality product. So you don't need 10 jackets, but you need one good quality jacket. It inclusive for all the products. Then reusing what we have, and then repeating and reusing what is long lasting, then repairing what we can. If not above, so if the product that if whatever that you're consuming cannot be is reusable, or cannot be um, kept for a long period of time, then choose products that those are recyclable. So for example, India recently, like there was a report that said we are around on 176 out of 180 countries, which uses the large amount of plastic, and it on the environmental index we are on 140 170 sorry 176 in the number. So, and we are the third most like the country who are using plastic and emitting plastic wastage. So, if not all above, you can choose to purchase products which are recyclable. One of the mindset which you could adopt is avoid, shift, and improve. So, avoid the products which are not recyclable, which are non-biodegradable. Shift the usage of products from more harmful to less harmful, and then improve the lifestyle by being more sustainable. Now moving to like waste segregation. So as of now, we have talked about mindful consumption and the energy saving practices that we can adopt on a daily basis in our life. But now moving to disposal, as I already shared that the amount of plastic that has been generated in India and disposed in India. So it can also be changed on an individual level. I understand it is something that should come up on a policy level by government, and then only we can have a proper segmentation of it. But as an individual, you can, some mindful changes, which is having different bins, as simple as that, having different bins for wet, dry, and e-waste. Then using products which are not very, like, you don't throw it almost every day. Having different bins, how you can have it, you can like label your bins, you can put it differently, you can be strict about it. So in your household or in your workplaces, you can be strict about this change. So one of the case study that I would, it's interesting and I would like to share with you all is, like everyone knows that Indore is number one when it comes to waste. They are the most clean city. How they do it? By changing the behavioral psychology of people. So the city level project that the government did in Indore was to really trigger people, to put the shame in it, and to put the guilt of throwing waste on roads. So these are the behavioral changes and mindset changes that you can do to incorporate the guilt of doing the improper waste segregation, and also by being empathetic for our waste pickers. So if you know that all the waste that we throw is being segregated somewhere, and there are people who are segregating it by their bare hands. So imagine the ways that we are disposing randomly without thinking about it. So even if we are more mindful of this, we can take a step closer to save our planet. One of the sectors that PadCare is doing here, from the for the waste segregation, is that we treat sanitary napkins. We recycle sanitary pads. So this is one of the, like, this is the ecosystem of PadCare, starting from accessibility, where we provide PadCare vents and bins to corporates, to workplaces and communities, where menstruator can easily access the menstrual product. They can easily dispose the sanitary waste in hygienic and private way. Then the picture that you can see on the screen is PadCare X, which is a recycling machine. It works on 5D technology, where we recycle the collected waste all throughout India. The output that we get after recycling sanitary napkins, as I shared, is pulp and plastic. The pulp is used to create stationery products like notebooks, calendars, then we can again reuse it. Then the plastic is used to create paper blocks, and again it is used to create our some part of it is used in pet care bins. So this is how we are creating a circular ecosystem where we reduce the burden of this waste on waste pickers and on the planet. So if I share some problem statement to you, and I've already shared that 12 billion, India alone, disposes 12 billion of pads a year. And imagine the amount of it, because 90% of it is either going in incineration or landfilling, and which generates a lot of harmful hazards to the environment, which is again coming to us through the gases, through the supply, the food chain. It is ultimately affecting us. So we are the one who are emitting it, and we are the one who are the victim of it. So that is something that needs to change. We can adopt menstruators, all the menstruators here are who has joined us here. You can switch to a sustainable menstruation. You can switch to sustainable products like menstrual cups, menstrual disc, period panties, cloth pads, depending upon your convenience. The first part is to be aware, to be aware of those impact, to know the products, carbon labeling, and then choosing a product for you. So, yeah, this is all. I would like to end with a proverb, which says that you don't inherit these resources from your ancestors, you borrow all these resources from your children. So, whatever consumption that we're doing, it will harm and is going to harm the future generation. And we should be mindful about it. It is, important now more than ever to take a step, to take a charge, and do your work in saving the planet. So I would like to conclude this session, and I hope you all found this session informative and got to know some important eye-opening figures that will trigger you to take action. And we can wrap it up by asking a small question to all of you. Can you think of one small change that you're taking this week to reduce your carbon footprint? So one of the answer is planting trees during rainy season. It's interesting. 3 days a week, only vegetarian food. So yeah, it's a good step. If you are non-vegetarian and if you're choosing to eat vegetarian food for 3 days, it's commendable. Um, Then collecting waste water from the kitchen for watering plants. It is very impactful. Like it's a small step. Thank you for sharing, Purnima. But yeah, when a lot of water is used on a daily basis while we're cooking food, so an amount of it could be used to water your plants. That's really nice. So Tapa has shared taking bus instead of rickshaw to reach metro station. Great. Then less pollution, less. Aditya Kumar has shared less population, less carbon footprint. Yeah, that's right. Composting instead of throwing away raw vegetables. That's really great. So, any of you, if you could, incorporate this habit in your usage of food, it's really great to compost. Someone has shared trying to remove your fast fashion habit. It's really great. So nice to hear that you are going to take an action for reducing the fast fashion footprint. Someone has asked if will using electric vehicles helps in sustainability. Yes, definitely, it does. Uh, Reduction in plastic bags. So Uh, definitely. So as we already discussed, whenever you want something to be you are going in a market, you are purchasing something, you can take your bag, cotton bag with you instead of asking the shopkeeper to give you a plastic bag. Then someone has shared of taking your, steel cups for drinking teas wherever you go, and instead of plastic bottles, you can take your steel bottles with you. That's a good habit while you're traveling. Reducing the usage of AC. Yeah, that will be good now that we are moving to a different weather. Yeah, so this was interesting. Thank you everyone who has joined, and thank you everyone who has commented something. And I hope that you have taken this pledge to, implement this action in your daily lifestyle. It will be really great to know your inputs, your experiences, and with us. Do let us know if you find it interesting. Thank you so much for listening and joining in.
Uh, Kritika, I just wanted to check, were you able to
Mhm.
answer? Somebody had asked if they want to implement the machine, the PadCare machine in their office. What's the procedure? Would you be able to help there?
Sure, sure. So yeah, do we do have some case studies where we have explained how PadCare technology helps workplaces to reduce their carbon footprint and help them to achieve their ESG goals. I would love to chat with you guys. This is this scanner, which will directly take you to my LinkedIn account where we can have a chat and I can share how you can install, have these services with you. One of the processes through like going on our website. We do have a PadCare website where you can book a session with us, and our team will help you and guide you to switch your workplace menstrual hygiene services in a more sustainable way.
Thanks, Kritika. I think we'll let's you give another 2 minutes for folks to write in their questions.
Sure.
We have two more. Um, One is, do you provide the machine all over India? What about Bangalore? And someone has also written, why do we need to provide hard copies? Maybe I don't have the context to this question. You might have some.
Sure.
Yeah.
Um, So I will just go back to the ecosystem. Someone has asked if the machine is there in Bangalore or if we are providing this machine. So we do not, provide the machine. The machine is headquartered in two cities, first in Pune and second in Bangalore. The ecosystem is such that it is a service-based model. We collect the waste material provided by workplaces, and after collecting this, so we do have service executives who collect this waste materials. After collecting it, we dispose it and recycle it in PadCare X, which uses the 5D technology to recycle the sanitary napkins. So it is done by us. Any workplace will get those PadCare vents and PadCare bins. And after recycling, then we produce the output, which are the recyclable stationery items and other products out of it. So, yeah, this is a service-based model. I hope this answers your question. Yes, we do collect from Bangalore. We are operational in 19 plus cities. And Bangalore is one of the cities where we have our services.
Thank you so much, Pratika.
Yeah.
I think we have all the questions answered by you. Could you move on to the last slide where folks can scan the QR and they can
Yes, sure.
reach out to you on
So,
LinkedIn?
if anyone interested in the services for the workplaces, you can directly send their email on info@padcarelabs.com. I will type it out on the chat box for your convenience, and then we can have a discussion on what can be done. Yes. I have written the email ID on the chat box if anyone is interested. And if if anyone wants to share your experience, and if you have any feedback for the session, do connect with me, and then we can talk about it.
Is this service only for offices or do you also collect from housing communities as well?
uh, this service is for both for offices and housing communities as well, but we do have a different model for both. Sorry, I just the email just lost. I have reshared it.
Thank you, Kratika. Yeah, I hope you had a good time, Pratika, and you got to answer some interesting questions today.
Definitely, definitely. It is very encouraging to see that people are aware about the choices and the carbon footprint they are having, and people know about the lifestyle changes, and the even the questions were very interesting. So it was a good session.
Thank you so much, and thanks for spending your time with us today. Thanks
Thank you.
everyone
Thank
who
you, everyone.
joined us. Yeah. Have a good time. Bye.